Our final competitor today is SnapDx from Canada, represented by Hisham Al-Shurafa.
I'm just going to use the wireless mic. Testing. Yeah, that works. Can everyone hear me? Okay, excellent. Bonjour, je m'appelle Hisham. I'm one of the co-founders of SnapDx. And I have a confession to make. I hate seeing my doctor. First, it takes such a long time to get an appointment with her in the first place. And when I do show up for the appointment, I feel so rushed. I'm not given enough time to ask all the questions that I have, and I feel that the doctor just wants to move on to the next patient. It all feels like a blur. But I've been working with doctors for the last 5 years, building medical software as an entrepreneur. So I know that doctors are nice people. They're smart people. I enjoy working with them. So what's the issue here? And what I've come to realize is that the system that doctors work in forces them to make this compromise between time and quality almost every single day. Do you rush through as many patients as you can in a day to meet certain income levels and certain quotas? Or do you spend as much time as you can with each patient, answering all the questions that they have, giving them the care that they deserve? And the sad truth is that doctors are forced to choose time over quality almost every single day. And that's what we're changing at SnapDx. What we're saying at SnapDx is you don't need to choose between time and quality anymore. You can have both. At SnapDx, we build tools that help doctors provide the best possible care in the 10 minutes they have to see a patient. With SnapDx, we're making the patient visit less of a blur and putting it more into focus. So how do we exactly accomplish this? Well, if you look at the typical distribution of tasks in a clinic, this is how tasks are distributed. To this day, the majority of the tasks, the majority of the burden is on the most expensive person in the clinic, the doctor. Nurses and other mid-level practitioners help a lot, of course, and this trend is continuing, while patients practically do nothing. At SnapDx, we use technology, clinical guidelines, and infographics to empower nurses and patients to do more. For example, as soon as a patient walks into a SnapDx clinic, they're given a SnapDx tablet that allows the patient to fill out their medical history comprehensively and easily in a way they've never been able to do before. Next, nurse sees the patient. SnapDx guides the nurse into asking the most relevant medical questions for this particular patient, allowing the nurse to fill out an even more comprehensive, more specific history. SnapDx also generates the diagnosis, the workup plan, and the recommended treatment plan as the nurse is filling out the patient's information. So now, the nurse is playing a larger role in clinical evaluation as well. And as all this is happening, SnapDx is already generating the clinical note that the doctor needs at the end of the appointment to document the whole clinical interaction. SnapDx reduces the doctor's documentation burden by up to 80%. Now, doctor sees the patient. He or she confirms a few items in the medical history, uses his medical expertise to make some final judgment calls, and now the doctor can spend the extra time that he has focusing on educating the patient, answering any questions that the patient has, making sure that the patient knows how to take care of themselves. SnapDx also generates amazing tools that help the doctor communicate complex concepts and risks to the patient. And the patient can take these tools home and explore them on his or her own time. So now the patient's more involved in their own education. If you notice, I just reduced the doctor's total burden by about 50%. On a system level, that's at least $100,000 per doctor per year. That's now freed up and can be reallocated to where doctors are needed the most, whether that's seeing more patients, educating more patients, or doing more clinical research. Let me go through some specific examples of how our product accomplishes all of this, just to refresh your memory. So first, it all starts with a patient waiting in the waiting room. Before SnapDx, patient would typically be using our biggest, most ferocious competitor, also known as paper, to fill out their medical history. With SnapDx, they're given a tablet that allows them to fill out a very comprehensive medical history in no time. Next, nurse sees the patient. Before SnapDx, the nurse would be limited by static paper or electronic forms that allow her or him to fill out some medical history. But with SnapDx, our forms are unlike any other form. They're smart forms that change based on the medical content entered. So the nurse is able to fill out a very comprehensive history more than ever before. Now, doctor sees the patient. Before SnapDx, if a doctor wanted to practice in an evidence-based way, the doctor would have to memorize hundreds of clinical guidelines and navigate complex flowcharts such as these that you can actually find in the guidelines themselves. That's what they have. With SnapDx, this is all built in and automatic. The recommendations just show up. Now, doctor can focus on educating the patient. And again, before SnapDx, if a patient asks, what are the side effects of my inhaler, the doctor would present them this gobbledygook from WebMD or UpToDate. With SnapDx, we present things visually. Now the patient visit is done, but SnapDx is not quite done yet. A lot of data naturally arises out of SnapDx, and we make that data searchable and analyzable by both researchers and health policy analysts. Here's an example chart that you can get from SnapDx in real time. To get this data today, before SnapDx, a doctor would pay $5,000 to hire 3 medical students over 2 months to get this data from the EMR or paper charts. With SnapDx, you can get this data instantly. These are our target customers. We're focused by therapeutic area. So initially, we're only looking at hypertension clinics. That's a $5.5 million market. We then expand by therapeutic area, eventually covering all of cardiovascular disease, and eventually serving the entire academic clinic market. That's a $600 million market. What's interesting about academic clinics is they have large teaching and research components that make them perfect for SnapDx, and we see that they resonate really well with our product. As far as our business model, it's a software as a service model. We charge around $50,000 setup with an 18% annual fee. We do our sales by partnering through guideline organizations, through conferences, and through word of mouth. Because our target customers, academic clinics, belong to tight research networks, we find word of mouth is working really well for us. When they see something that works well for them, like SnapDx, they share it quickly with the rest of their research network. This is our projected total addressable market as we expand by therapeutic area each year, reaching $150 million by year 5. We're currently raising $500,000 to hire 2 salespeople, 2 product development people, and with that, we'll be able to cut this time down by half. This is our traction so far, amazing traction in only 9 months, almost 200 physician beta testers, and we actually already exceeded this. We released our first app last week on the App Store, a limited version of SnapDx, and we already gained an additional 430 users in over 36 countries. So this data, we already exceeded it. As far as institutional use, we have pilots at 2 different health centers, one in London, Ontario, led by one of the top hypertension experts in Canada, Dr. George Dresser. One of his residents showed him SnapDx. He fell in love, wanted to use it right away, and even now he's initiating new research around SnapDx. We also have a second pilot at Alberta Health Services, led by the director of the medical teaching unit there, Dr. Aleem Barwani. Again, he's a huge fan of SnapDx. He even joined our company as a formal advisor. We also have 8 pharmacies that want to use our product. We've also been accepted to one of the top US health tech accelerators, Startup Health, and we'll be presenting to the Cleveland Clinic this October. In fact, I just confirmed an additional meeting with the Cleveland Clinic yesterday with one of their top hypertension experts who leads their hypertension clinic, so we're really excited about that and potentially collaborating with them. We've also engaged a number of guideline organizations, and they really love the work that we're doing in helping disseminate their guidelines. In fact, with the American Academy of Neurology, we're working with them on an educational grant with one of the top neurology researchers in Canada, Dr. Nathalie Jeté. She's interested in validating some of the neurology tools within SnapDx. So all of this we only accomplished in 9 months, 6 months part-time, 3 months full-time. We already have active users, we already have research and publications in the way, and this is the team that did it. So my name is Hisham, I'm an engineer, also an entrepreneur. My previous company, we built imaging software for plastic surgeons, still used by top surgeons around the world today. I previously worked for Amazon.com and Microsoft. My amazing chief medical officer, Dr. Arvind Ganesh, he's a neurology resident, published researcher, Rhodes Scholar. We'll be spending some time at Oxford in the coming years. Our other medical co-founder, Dr. Rahul Mehta, is an internal medicine resident, published researcher, and also a pharmacist. The most important thing I'd like to highlight here is we're a full-time team. What this means is that we quit our jobs, we put our medical careers on hold, we're invested in this company, we're going to make sure it's a success. It's already on the path to success. So that's SnapDx. We help doctors provide the best possible care in the 10 minutes they have to see a patient. We're focused on a large $600 million market. We have the team to execute on this and become the #1 market leader, and we already have the traction to prove it, and our product is very easy to scale. Thank you very much. And just remember, one last thing, don't hate the doctor, change the system, change the game, at SnapDx. We're changing the game. Thank you very much.